Not all fairy tales bring comfort. Some twist, loop, and open doors best left closed. Fairy Tales That Should Not Be Read is a collection of strange, whimsical, and slightly unsettling stories. They don't give easy answers. They make you think. They don't entertain. They transform. Why shouldn't they be read? Because they linger. Because they change you. Step into a world where reality bends. Listen carefully. The Lost Clock of Calm. Can you truly find calm if you're looking in the wrong place? Does it really hide in schedules, checklists, and calendar reminders? In this episode of Fairy Tales That Should Not Be Read, you'll hear the whimsical tale of Mr. Constant Worry, a man so preoccupied with potential disasters that he carried a clock of calm at all times. After all, how else could he know when it was safe to stop worrying? But what happens when the clock suddenly disappears? Where do you look for calm? And is it ever really lost at all? A magical and witty story about anxiety, control, and the unexpected ways we find balance. Once upon a time, in a city where teapots whistled precisely at 3 and pigeons wrote letters to passers-by, lived a man named Mr. Constant Worry. He was a very busy man, so busy in fact that he spent every waking hour dashing through the streets, diligently noting down every possible catastrophe that could, but might not necessarily, happen. What if someone forgets how to breathe? He whispered anxiously as he rushed past a bakery. What if all the clocks start ticking backwards tomorrow? What if my shoelaces tie themselves into a knot, I trip, and it changes the course of history? His notebook had long since turned into a plump little book of horrors, wrapped in an old newspaper that he clutched like a lucky charm. And in the left pocket of his coat, he always carried his clock of calm, a unique device designed, in theory, to tell him the exact moment when he could finally stop worrying. But one morning, just as he was about to pour himself some tea without ever looking up from his catastrophe list, he realized with horror his clock of calm was gone. "This is a disaster," he shrieked, rushing to the nearest passerby, who happened to be a hat. Not a person wearing a hat, just a hat. "Excuse me, sir, but I don't quite understand. Why do you think losing a clock is a disaster?" "How do you not understand?" gasped Mr. Constant Worry. "Now I have no idea when my calm is supposed to arrive." The hat tilted slightly to one side in thought and then replied, "And why do you think calm is something you find in your pocket?" "Well, where else would it be?" sputtered Mr. Constant Worry. "Have you ever found calm just lying around in the street?" "Oh, of course," said the hat. "Just yesterday, there was one sitting right on the pavement outside the confectionery. There was even a sign, 'Calm, handle with care.' But everyone just walked past it." "How terrible," cried Mr. Constant Worry. "And what happened to it?" "A dog picked it up and took it to the park," the hat said matter-of-factly. "I suppose it's still running around there somewhere." "I must find it at once," Mr. Constant Worry wailed and ran straight to the park. The park was full of argumentative birds flapping their wings dramatically. He hurried over to the nearest crow. "Excuse me, have you seen any calm around here?" The crow cocked its head to one side and cawed thoughtfully. "Calm? Not mine. But if you find one, tell it to come back to me." "What?" Mr. Constant Worry blinked. "It's simple," the crow explained. "Everyone is looking for it, but when they find it, it turns out it's not quite the right fit." "What do you mean?" "Well, I found one once, a lovely little blue sphere of calm. But then I realized I prefer black." The crow shrugged. "And what did you do?" "Left it on a bench. Maybe someone else will need it." The crow flapped its wings. "But my calm is missing," wailed Mr. Constant Worry. "Maybe it just wasn't yours to begin with." The crow yawned. That was something new. Mr. Constant Worry stood still, blinking in confusion. "So what should I do now?" "Maybe stop looking and just take a look around." the crow suggested and flew away. Mr. Constant Worry stood in the middle of the park. He looked around. The sun was shining, the leaves rustled gently. Somewhere in the distance, children were laughing. He took a slow breath in, then out. And suddenly he realized. His clock of calm had been with him all along. He had just spent so much time waiting for a signal that he hadn't noticed everything he needed was already there. He pulled out his notebook, glanced at it, and slowly closed it. Nearby, a dog was napping peacefully in the grass. Mr. Constant Worry sat down beside it, sighed, and said, "Looks like you found what I was looking for." The dog lazily opened one eye and snapped its jaws. It didn't seem worried about anything at all. Moral: you don't need to search for calm. It's already there. You just have to notice it.